Goals, the heartbeat of La Liga for 90 years, unique and everlasting. As long as La Liga is alive, heartbeats will continue, like when Pitus Prat first scored on the 10th of February of 1929.
The Santiago Bernabeu, it's not the most usual time for a game here in the Real Madrid Temple of Football, Sunday 12 o'clock, but the fans turning up to say goodbye to what has been, let's face it, a disappointing season for the team now managed by Zinedine Zidane. Today they face Betis. It's the penultimate game of the 2018-19 La Liga Santander season. Not too much in play today except for the pride of both teams, but there could well be farewells from a fair number of players and possibly one of the managers today. Guillem Balaguer joins me. Guillem, let's start with the visitors. Is it Quique Setien's last game in charge at Betis?
Hi Simon, there's a division of the board. You've got Serra Ferrer, director of football, saying, I think yes, time to move on. He's listening to the fans. He's looking at the stats. He's thinking, we've got a big squad, a very good squad actually. We've got money, but we're just going to finish mid-table. No possibility of Europa League or anything like that. Time to move on. Quique Setién is saying, I've got another year left in the contract, and some of the directors, key directors, are saying, no, it's time for him to stay on one more year, adjust what he has been at some points, a very pretty football, effective sometimes too, but that collapsed at the end. And that means getting perhaps one striker, and maybe that changes things.
Well, maybe it does. Lack of goal has been a problem for the Andalusians all season. As for Real Madrid, their hosts today, once again Zinedine Zidane making a host of changes, 6 changes from the side that rather limply lost 3-1 to Real Sociedad last weekend. It's been disappointing on the return of the French manager. With 10 games played so far, 5 wins, 2 draws, 3 defeats. All those 5 wins have come here in the Santiago Bernabeu.
Yeah, that's a good point. So at home, yeah, no problem. They have delivered. Away, they haven't. And that's sometimes a sign of a team that is not mature enough. Lots of problems in the side. We'll go through it, I'm sure. But time to say goodbye to Keylor Navas, I think, who will be on goal today.
Well, Keylor Navas gets a start. We do expect, as Guillaume said, him to be saying farewell to the fans today. We're also saying farewell to the man with the ball in his hand, referee Undiano Mayenko, in charge for the last time in his career in La Liga Santander, one of the top Spanish referees.
He is, yeah, a very quiet guy, very calm. I don't remember a horrible decision, and you'll remember for most of the referees, but he is a discreet referee and one that everybody respects. So much so that he'll be the referee of the cup final on Saturday, Barcelona-Valencia.
Good luck to Undiano Mayenko at the end of his La Liga refereeing career. The players greeting the fans in the Bernabeu and greeting each other. The final game of the season for both Real Madrid and Betis. Just one game to go after this, and a decent atmosphere in the Bernabeu. It's not full by any means, but as we see Setien and Zidane greeting each other in front of the dugouts, these are the Madrid fans out here who, whether they're going through the good times or the bad, want to support their side. Here's the Madrid lineup for the final game of the season. Navas, as we've said, in goal. Carvajal, Varane, Nacho, Marcelino at the back. Llorente, Modric, Valverde in midfield. Brahim, Vinicius Jr. and Benzema up front, which means on the bench, Courtois, Cruz, Bale, Lucas, Asensio, Isco and Reguilon. How many of those players, the 18 we've seen, will be here next season remains to be seen. Marcelo and Guardado, the two captains today, greeting the match officials. Here's the Betis lineup. Pau Lopez in goal. We think it's going to be the three central defenders at the back, Mendy, Bartra, Fidal, with Francis and Firpo as wing-backs. William Carvalho in the holding role. Captum and Guardado playing behind Lo Celso and Morona on the bench. Joel, Sergio Leon, Jesse, a former Real Madrid man himself, Christian Teo, Sidney, Diego Lainez, the talented young Mexican, and Emerson in the VAR operation room. Another vastly experienced referee, Mr. Prieto Iglesias. Let's hope that man there, Undiano Mayenko, doesn't need to receive too much information from Las Rojas, the VAR operation room, and that he has a discreet performance. As Guillaume's pointed out, he is a discreet referee. Ahead of the game, let's have a minute's silence. Respectfully held silence in memory of a former Real Madrid player there. And despite the wagging tongues, it's not for the Real Madrid career of Gareth Bale. Mayenko just making final notes, just getting everything set up. Keylor Navas in his now traditional praying pose ahead of the kick-off, the final game of the season in the Santiago Bernabeu about to get underway. And I think it's fair to say, Guillaume, with nothing in play really for either side, we could be in for a spectacular 90 minutes of football today. These are two excellent football playing sides. Yeah,
they like the ball. They like to play the ball. They like to attack. And of course, the fans, you mentioned the fans, there's gaps in the seats. That's partly because the regulars are not there. So there'll be non-regulars, people visiting the city, wanting a good spectacle. So they may get it.
Well, that certainly eases a bit of the pressure on the players. Much maligned this season. It's been disappointing for Madrid. 3 different managers on the bench. It's Zinedine Zidane in charge now, his 11th game in charge, as I pointed out at the beginning of this broadcast. Certainly at home, he's had a good success rate. First touch for Carvalho. It's collected here by Valverde, and it will be a throw to Real Madrid. Interesting seeing Benzema, Brahim and Vinicius Junior starting up front. Is that the future for Real Madrid, do you think, or is that a bit much to ask for the two youngsters?
That will be when Eden Hazard is not available, and if Marco Asensio doesn't reach the height that we expect. But it's interesting that 7 out of the 10 games that Zidane has been in charge, Brahim has been part of the side, 5 of them from the start. So that was unexpected, but has given the opportunity for him to shine. And Vinicius and Brahim have only been together on the pitch for 8 minutes. That was against Betis in the first round of this fixture, and it'd be interesting to see that youthfulness and energy and bravery they both bring with the ball.
Lo Celso returning the ball to Marc Bartra. Junior Firpo can't keep that one in play. Throw into Real Madrid. Quique Setien looking on.
You mentioned Bale. Aren't you surprised that Bale is on the bench?
That he's on the bench and part of the matchday squad? Well, he certainly hasn't been for the last couple of fixtures, unless Zinedine Zidane is planning to give the Welshman a send-off in the second half.
Hold on, he doesn't want to go. He doesn't want to go. That is the most weird thing. Everybody's saying, chance for Bale to say goodbye. This is the last game for Bale. He's on the bench though, but he doesn't want to go.
Carvajal picks out Junior Firpo, making a nice run into space. Guardado returning it to Firpo. Lovely ball over the top from Lo Celso, well dealt with by Dani Carvajal. Throw into Betis. Well, it's certainly going to be one of the soap operas of the summer. Gareth Bale at Madrid. Marc Bartra just about finding Francis Guerrero. Mendy to Carvalho, the man who seems to play in slow motion. It wasn't the greatest ball to Bartra, he just got there ahead of Brahim Diaz. Collected now by Vinicius Junior. The fans already urging the Brazilian on. It was a lovely first touch. Now Marcelo. Two players not in the Brazil squad for the America's Cup.
Tells you everything, that when Vinicius actually touches the ball and everybody lifts their spirit and there's a different noise at the stadium, that everything has been put on the shoulders of a 19-year-old. It tells you everything you need to know about the season.
Vidal back to Pau, in trouble there. Vinicius showing his cheek, if nothing else, very nearly causing Pau Lopez problems there. Vidal finds Carvalho. Quick to pick out Junior Firpo. Now Marc Bartra. He's certainly a player who remembers Gareth Bale at his best. That famous cup-winning goal from the Welshman, where he just ripped Marc Bartra apart. It was Guardado, a high-floating ball, well dealt with, comfortably dealt with by Marcelo.
Was that a shoulder pass?
I don't know what part of the body it was, but he cushioned it superbly. Varane to Carvajal. Carvajal inside to Modric, under pressure from Guardado. Does well. Llorente coming up against the brick wall that's Junior Firpo.
It just feels like Betis have started better, brighter.
It was a shoulder pass.
shoulder pass, and I think Quique Setien wanted a foul for that, but they started better. They started better with the ball. They hungrier without it. Betis doesn't mean anything, of course, because the quality of Real Madrid can change things in a second, but Betis feel comfortable at the Bernabeu.
Lovely turn by Llorente. Varane picks out Benzema. Head down. He in turn finds Vinicius Junior. Lovely ball across the face of the box to Brahim Diaz. Brahim gets it onto the left foot. Couldn't find the shooting opportunity. Oh, and a little bit of a sprint there from Carvalho. You don't see it too much. And he's won himself a free kick. I've been massively impressed by Carvalho all season. He looks slow. I think it's fair to say he is slow, but he always has time to make the pass that he chooses.
But I know where you're coming from as well, because in the first half of the season he looked slow and his decisions were slow. He's changed that. He just reacts much quicker, understands what the team wants, has become a leader of it, and hardly loses the ball. So yeah, he's impressed in the last half of the season.
Smile on Zinedine Zidane's face, a serious look on Quique Setien's. You were mentioning the important role of the opinion of Cera Ferrer at Betis. At the beginning of the season, Ángel Aro, the president, was telling me they're so keen on this project. They want it to be a mid to long-term project. Also, Joaquin, also Marc Bartra, talking about the fact that they're aware of that lack of goal in the squad, but that they feel they're not missing, or they're not lacking too much. Just a couple of retouches over the summer could change things for Betis. You mentioned the quality of the depth of the squad.
I will agree with the lack of just 1 or 2 touches, that's all. But strikers he's had. Sergio León gave him 24 goals last season. Only 7 this one, has hardly played. He's going to go to Levante. And Loren is playing today, so that's another striker. A young kid who scored 13 last season. But only 3 or 5 this season. So
there's Varane with the interception. It's Loren Moron himself who was challenging him. Varane very comfortably deals with the threat. I mean, Loren Moron made a real impact last season, Guillaume, when coming into the first team, making his first appearances in the top flight in his mid-20s. And I think people thought this could be the real deal, because he did start by scoring goals. But since then, we've seen, I think, a lack of experience and a lack of that tranquility a goal scorer needs when faced with an opportunity.
Give him continuity.
Yeah.
Give him 20 games in a row, and you may see a different player. He's been in and out of the side, and that has affected him for sure.
Here's Vinicius Junior. It's a great run from the Brazilian. The ball just getting away in his final touch, and Pau happy to see that one out of touch for a Real Madrid throw. Vinicius Junior looks up for this one, but every single minute we see him on the pitch, he looks up for it, doesn't he?
Well, they've been missing this directness, penetration. Brahim and Vinicius does that, and that's why the fans love them both so much.
On that occasion, it was a poor first touch that led to Madrid losing out. His Firpo. Bartra to Carvalho. Modric all over him. He just can't see through him. What a difference in physique. Free kick given.
You were saying about Betis and the strikers. That's absolutely a right analysis. They don't score the goals. They don't create enough chances. They have a lot of possession. They are one of the mid-table in terms of goals scored. So much possession for not much effect. But there's something else that is very difficult to change: the negative atmosphere that surrounds the team. The fans don't want Quique Setién. They're not completely convinced about the style, even though it's a style that took them to Europe. It's a style that took them to the semi-finals of the Cup, for instance. So how do you change that around with the same people at 1 or 2 touches? It's going to be a hard one.
Betis on the ball, floated forward by Lo Celso for Loren Moron to chase. Navas there first, and gets applause from the home fans as he slots it into touch. Still Betis dominating things, although Madrid seem to have woken up over the last couple of minutes and taking the game a bit more to Betis. Problems for Zufidal under pressure from Benzema. Plays it back to Pau Lopez. Lopez sends it high and long. One there by Captoon, collected by Loren Moron. Now it's Lo Celso. Fouled by Marcos Llorente. Free kick to Betis. Lo Celso, one of the success stories this season.
Yes, and that's why they invested 22 million euros on him. Now he belongs to Betis, having paid that money to PSG. Somebody that has been used as in a forward role, but perhaps his best position is closer to the midfield, linking up things. But in any case, top player like so many in the side.
Do you think that's part of the problem, Guillaume? They've got a surfeit of quality midfielders,
and they lack. Well, they've got
20 goal a season strikers.
Yes. But as you said, you spoke to Bartra and Joaquin at the beginning of the season. Everybody knows about it. Now is the time for the club to intervene.
Floated into the box, and Carvajal putting that one out for a corner. First corner of the game, and it's for Betis. As Quique Setién has retired to the dugout, looking on pensively. What's going through his head, I wonder. I'm sure he knows more than we do about the way the future looks. Guardado. Decent ball in from Kaptoum, and well dealt with indeed by Keylor Navas. Quick to play it out to Benzema. Benzema's been playing all season with that bandaged wrist. But Chelsea. Lauren Moron. That came off Marcelo. Another corner for Betis.
First whistles being heard at the Santiago Bernabeu. Everybody wants to go on holidays, I think. Fans want not to come back and be seeing this, because if you're a Real Madrid fan, you want to come to Santiago Bernabeu, see your own team, but it's frustrating at the moment.
Holiday time in Madrid, a lot of the people go up to the northern coast, to Santander, the home, of course, of Quique Setién. In comes the cross. Moron trying to get the shot off. In the end, it's cleared by Nacho. Madrid defending a little bit in desperation. A good spell of pressure from Betis.
It's been played at the style and the dynamism that Betis wants, at the pace that Betis wants, and the way that Betis wants the game to be played. They like to do this, controlling the ball, just everybody, or almost everybody, in front of the ball, on the edge of the Real Madrid box, once you build from the back. And so when they lose the ball, they dare to recover it back. They're doing that very well, but we know that with the splash from Real Madrid, that just could turn things around.
Firpo, lovely control. There's a story in the Madrid sporting press this morning about how his father's a big Real Madrid fan, and how proud he is to hear his name mentioned in connection with the club from the centre of Madrid. Do you see a future for Firpo in one of the big clubs of Spain?
Maybe, but it won't be Real Madrid, it seems, because they want Mendy from Lyon to actually challenge Marcelo, and Reguilón is going to have to move on, so it looks like that's where they're looking for.
But he's certainly been one of the successes of this Betis side. He's had a tough time through muscular injuries this season, missed a lot of games. Good to see him back at the close of the campaign. Kaptoum, Firpo, Bartra, Mendy. Chelsea over the top for Lauren Moron to chase. He seems slow off the mark there, Lauren Moron. All the advantage for Dani Carvajal. But he can't keep that in. It'll be another throw to Betis, putting pressure on this Madrid defence in the opening quarter of an hour.
We were talking about Junior in here. He will be part of the national side of Spain and the 21s in the European Championship. A good championship for him will mean that not only Real Madrid, but all the teams will be looking at him. He's, as you said, a lot of quality, likes to go forward, preferred as a wing-back like here than a full-back because of perhaps lack of defensive consistency, but lots of talent.
He can also fit in central defence as well, although that's not really a requirement here at Betis. Good challenge there by Rafa Varane. And he is, of course, the first ever Dominican-born player in La Liga Santander. Mariano Diaz of Madrid is of Dominican descent, but Junior Firpo actually born in the Dominican Republic.
But Spanish international.
And he's making a run there. Gets away from Carvajal. Square to Kaptoum. Kaptoum wide and just overdoes it. Francis Guerrero failing to get on the end of that one, but again, Betis showing real clarity of ideas in attack, except for that final ball.
Yeah, that's missing, but once you are trying so hard and you are leaving around the box, there's always danger possible.
Here's Lo Celso, certainly lying very deep today and not playing in that attacking role we kind of expected when we saw the team sheet. Here's Francis, looks up and hits it straight into the back of Marcelo. First to bring the ball down on the first bounce, and Marcelo takes it off him. One straight back by Guardado. He in turn finds Kaptoum. Now Carvalho. Aldridge firmly in there on Lo Celso, goes down and wearily pulls the socks up.
A lot of work is demanded of the two centre midfielders or the holding midfielders of Real Madrid. Certainly Modric is going to have to drop deep and make sure that those runs from the midfield have been followed. Fede Valverde exactly the same. So that means that Real Madrid are at the moment quite deep and not have got the opportunity to counter-attack or even attack.
Problems there for Brahim Diaz. Carvalho, lovely turn from him, almost Zinedine Zidane-esque there. He goes down. Undian perfectly positioned, gives the free kick. Lovely touch of exquisite skill from the big man there.
Typical Carvalho, he actually managed to get a lot of quality in those two touches. 1-2, two players left behind, and then slow for the next decision, and he gets picked and fouled. It's a foul.
And a real opportunity here. No Joaquin, of course. He's suspended and misses this game due to the celebration of his second goal last week in Betis' 2-1 win over Huesca. Joaquin scoring both the goals. He's a huge supporter of Quique Setién, isn't he?
Yes.
I know you have your theory about
It suits him, doesn't it? It suits him because it's good football, no doubt, but also because it allows Joaquin to shine. So I think he's thinking of himself as well as the team, and yes, he's publicly defended Quique Setién to continue.
Andres Guardado take the free kick. The Mexican international, steely glare in his eye. The whistle goes. Guardado cuts it short. Well, decently worked move. No problems, however, for Keylor Navas to collect Lo Celso's header. Poor combination work there from Valverde, seeking to combine with Brahim Diaz. Didn't come off.
No, but that run from Fede was followed by 3 other teammates, while Betis was defending with 7 already. So everybody's got to sharpen up. Everybody's got to have to run a little bit more.
Varane dispossessing Loren Moron. High floating ball for Vinicius to chase. Francis. Mandi. Good touch there from Valverde to Vinicius, who goes down and wins a free kick for Real Madrid.
You said it earlier, clarity of ideas of how to defend an attack from Betis, and I'm not sure what Real Madrid is trying to do apart from getting the ball as close as soon as they can to Vinicius and to Benzema.
Well, I mean, if you look at the 11 matches played since Zinedine Zidane's return and analyse them, I think it'd be hard-pressed to say, oh, this is the style of play Zinedine Zidane wants for next season.
He's obviously been auctioning players in a way, seeing what they can do, and yes, likes.
Modric's free kick to the edge of the box. So Vidal got his head to it, the ball cleared only as far as Dani Carvajal. So putting players in the shop window, which players, Guillem, do you suspect won't be here after today?
Marcos Llorente won't be, and Atletico Madrid won him. No offer from him yet. Keylor Navas, I believe he's been told he's leaving. Obviously Carvajal, Varane, Nacho, they are necessary. So is Benzema. Modric, it's one that he wants to recover. And so he wants the same of Marcelo. He's actually giving Marcelo a chance, and okay, so he's giving a chance to cross as well. To Modric, to the same team. What is he doing? What are the big decisions to be made? And I thought Isco, Marcelo, Kroos, Modric were the big decisions. But it seems that out of those, he wants to keep the 4 of them. So I know, we all know Hazard is possibly coming, Eriksen possibly coming, or Pogba is the one that Benzema wants. Still doesn't seem enough to change a dynamic that has been so negative. If you are doubting which are the players of Real Madrid that haven't been professional enough, that haven't put enough on the plate this season, just have a look at the last lineups under Santi Solari, and that would tell you they were not hungry enough. How do you get Marcelo hungry again? It's difficult.
Modric to Vinicius Junior. Plenty of time and space. He picks out Dani Carvajal. Diaz rocketly holding onto that, and it was a lovely idea from Vinicius. Didn't quite come off. Fascinating to see these two youngsters combining up front.
Brahim doesn't want to go on loan, right? So you've got Vinicius, Rodrigo, who's coming over, 18-year-old, who's going to cost about 50 million euros. You've got Hazard possibly coming as well. Not sure he's going to have the space.
Oh, lovely skill from Marcelo. Lets himself down with the pass though. Advantage Mandy, who plays it back to Pau under pressure from Vinicius. You can always rely on Marcelo to do those crowd-pleasing flicks and turns. Here it is. Absolutely world-class control under pressure there from Marcelo. And there you see the attempt of Vinicius to dummy the ball.
The more Brahim and Vinicius will link, the more danger Real Madrid will create.
And you know, I'm sure there's a lot of Madrid fans, as that one floated in towards Benzema, can't quite get the contact he looked for. I'm sure there's a lot of fans who probably consider themselves to be serious long-term Real Madrid fans, purists if you like, who would say, well, instead of all the big names that are in the press, give Vinicius and Brahim a chance. I mean, there's no doubting their quality. Obviously, they're both lacking masses of experience, but they could be a really exciting future pairing, don't you think?
Yeah, you cannot put though the weight of the offensive football of Real Madrid on a 19-year-old, on two 19-year-olds. Brahim is about 20 now, isn't it? So
not quite. They're both officially
19.
Teenagers.
Okay,
yeah.
so you cannot do that. Also, he goes against the model.
Yeah. Not necessarily a bad thing.
Well, they won 4 of the last 5 Champions Leagues.
Yeah, talking more about LaLiga, I suppose, but here's Marcelo. We're halfway through the first half. Marcelo tries a shot. It's not on target, but at least it's a shot. Madrid, as we saw in the first 20 minutes, 41% possession of the ball against Betis' 59.
At least Real Madrid managed to change the dynamic a little bit, and it's down to the fact that without the ball they're just a little bit more aggressive. Look at how they're waiting for Betis to build from the back, and look also how they approach the rival. So they're recovering the ball early and they stop Betis in the key part of their build-up.
Once again, Marcos Llorente hasn't put a foot wrong so far. Excellent positioning, excellent anticipation, although he puts a foot wrong there. Loren, Captum, back to Carvalho, Bartra to Firpo, Bartra again, Isa Mandy, lovely ball through, flag up for offside. Just
by 2 centimetres, but great run and greatly found at the one.
Well, he seems disappointed to have missed, but it's a close one indeed. It's unusual for the linesman to raise the flag so quickly.
Very true, because they've been told to just let it go. Yeah. And also, sometimes when you've got VAR, you allow the responsibility of it to the images more than to your vision if it's very, very tight.
And I think that's what Kike Setien is questioning with a wry smile on his face. Here's Brahim Diaz. Llorente to Modric. Nacho to Marcelo. Modric calling for it back. It's a neat ball into space. Vinicius keeping the ball in play. And again, that touch just let him down, but he does win a corner as Fidel unable to prevent that one from going out. First corner of the game for Real Madrid. Vinicius takes it quickly and short to Modric. Marcelo! Second shot in a couple of minutes from the Brazilian. That one was a bit closer.
It all starts with a move from Vinicius. Vinicius has easily reached the face-off. When he's got the ball, it looks like things will happen. He will have to reach at some point the face-off. Things happen when he's got the ball, but at the moment that threat is enough, and that created a corner, out of which came that shot from Marcelo.
Hit straight at Llorente, who's dispossessed by Captum. Throw into Betis. Well, no goals as yet, but it's quite entertaining, this. Chelsea changing direction, finding Captain, lovely first time touch, but just failing to link again with Giovanni Lo Celso. Here's Vinicius Junior. Well, he's certainly got Mandy in his pocket so far, hasn't he? Doesn't know which way to turn.
He needs help.
Well, the cross, I think, took a deflection. Brahim Diaz collects, supported here by Dani Carvajal. Brahim Diaz quite happy to go it alone, though, and playing himself into trouble. And there's the inexperience coming to the fore, I think.
Yeah, because that one you have to release early and then move. But you will have the opportunity to do that dribble if the conditions have been created on a 1v1. That wasn't for it.
Luka Modric. Llorente. Marcelo. Llorente. Awkward for Dani Carvajal. It's collected by Junior Firpo. Gets away from Carvajal with ease and goes down under the challenge of Marcos Llorente, who also went down. It'll be a free kick to Betis.
Junior did what he knows he's got to do in that position as a wing back. There was space in front of him. He's got the pace. He want to attack it, and there was a foul. He just went on the way, and a hand was left there, but just by accident, I think. What can you do with that arm?
Mundiana Mayenko giving the free kick in favour of Betis. 27 minutes on the clock. Guardado standing over it. Seems quite relaxed, Kike Setien. Bartra. Whoa, tipped over by Navas. Catching everyone by surprise there, Marc Bartra. Meanwhile, Junior Firpo's down again. And Undiano having a word with Carvajal. And just checking with the Betis wing back.
Oh, there was a tackle from behind from Carvajal. Junior stayed on the floor for a little bit. Seems to be okay though.
Gets up wearily and wanders over to the edge of the box while the other plays it short. Guardado again, left-footed cross to the far post, nodded down by Carvajal, and Junior Firpo, a little nudge on the back of Luka Modric, who I think is fairly relieved to go down and win the free kick. It was a well-struck effort from Marc Bartra, and just in case, palming it over the brilliant Keylor Navas.
Yes, it didn't surprise him, but he had intention. That was the centre-back actually with the shot, a typical move by Betis. Centre-back just being brave.
Llorente. Carvajal. Brahim back to Modric. Modric. Carvajal does well to get the cross in. Benzema stretching, couldn't quite get the touch.
As often with Real Madrid, a cross and only one Real Madrid player to receive it.
Chelsea getting in there ahead of Nacho. Throw into Real Madrid. You expect Nacho to still be in the Real Madrid squad next season?
Useful player, versatile, of course, has been part of the recent success of Real Madrid, and I think so, yes. I think they need perhaps another centre-back, but one for the future, maybe.
Lovely turn again from Vinicius, is pulled down by Junior. By Captum, I should say, who sees the first yellow card of the game, a former Football Club Barcelona man. Wilfred Captum sees the first card.
I think they reminded the referee that Carvajal committed 2 fouls that should have been a yellow, but there is no retroactive action. It was a tackle from behind. There was all the intentions to stop Vinicius, and it's a well-deserved yellow.
And again, I think it demonstrates the the name that Vinicius Junior's already made for himself in La Liga Santander, with still just a handful of appearances. But Captain's idea there was clearly just stop him, take the punishment, just stop him anyway.
Yeah, when he's got a space in front of him, you know he can go right or left, or he can put a cross in. I think the finishing is not his speciality yet, but it will come.
Lo Celso, the lone figure in the wall, swung in by Modric. Getting his head to it, Zufadal. Finally, Junior Semi gets it away, only as far as Brahim. On the turn, Vinicius, the shot blocked. Lo Celso, well, found himself in a bit of a blind alley there, and it will be a throw in to Real Madrid. Good work there, tracking back from Luka Modric. Here's Nacho. I mean, my question about Nacho, Guillem, was more from the player's perspective. You don't think he's a player who's going to want to play a more important role in the defence of maybe another team?
I don't know. It doesn't seem like that kind of person. He's at Real Madrid, filling a gap, and you obviously need those kind of players who understand what Real Madrid are about. So if Zidane tells him, we need you, I think he'll respond to that.
Carvajal and Lo Celso end up giving the ball away. Bit of space here for Vinicius. Finds Benzema. Vinicius Junior gets into the area, a couple of step overs. Lays it back for Marcelo. Benzema. Marcelo. Modric calling for it. Couldn't quite get it out from under his feet. Problems for Llorente. Does really well and shows strength and determination there. In comes the cross. Dealt with by Zufadal. Now Francis. Down the line. Neither Laurent nor Nacho got the touch. It falls to Rafa Varane.
Betis are defending well. When they do it high, they do it in numbers like here, and with intent. When they do it in a lower block, they also have been stopping them.
Rafa Varane down the right, cuts it across the face of the area. Oh, it's given straight to Benzema by Francis Guerreiro, and the Frenchman, almost unbelieving the assist he'd been given there by the Betis #2, strikes the base of the post, and finally the shot gathered, collected and released by Pau Lopez.
Just as we were praising how well Betis were defending, Francis does the most bizarre pass to Benzema in a position to actually score. Should have done better. Right in there, he just put it in the right place, but just by a couple of centimeters hits the post instead of going in, and that still keeps it 0-0. But that will unsettle Betis. They were doing a good game. Now they know they've got a mistake in them, and they better just react to it well.
It's a lovely ball by Firpo, lovely first touch by Lo Celso. Oh! Keylor Navas, spectacular save, but what a break from Betis, and what a delicate touch from Giovanni Lo Celso.
Brilliant touch, great pass from Junior. Seeing the run of Lo Celso, still has got loads to do. What a great control with his thigh, and then just it would have hit the bar, didn't. It's a corner because Keylor Navas put a hand to it.
Spectacular stuff in the Bernabeu from both sides. That one goes down as a save, but you're absolutely right, it would have hit the bar. So, woodwork from both sides. Here's Francis Guerreiro trying to link with Junior Firpo. Now a chance on the break for Benzema. Pau Lopez, very alert as ever. Well, it's really livened up a little bit over the last few minutes. And I think part of that, Guillem, is because Real Madrid are looking a little bit more aware of what they want to be doing out there on the pitch. Instead of letting Betis take the game to them, they're responding in kind. Yeah,
they're running a bit more. It still seems like a bit disorganized. You don't know where they want to get the ball back. Look at the kind of pressure that they're doing there. It's really, their intention is not great, but they recover it, and when they do, of course, they've got pace. They've got to be more accurate.
There's Carvalho. inside to Guardado.
At points right now, Betis have been the better side in this first half.
Lack of understanding there between Guardado and Junior Firpo, and the veteran Mexican giving Junior a little bit of a talking to there.
Yes, because I think Junior stayed put, should have moved, was surrounded by players, didn't give an opportunity to Guardado to pass.
Loren felt he was held back, and he will win a free kick despite Keylor Navas' best efforts to come out and clear the danger. And there will be a yellow card insisted on, I think, by Guardado.
You have to say, when the referee's having a good game, he let that move go and realized that Keylor Navas was going to reach there first, gave the foul that was committed there.
Yeah, no question. Llorente felt he had to stop him one way or the other. It was a nice touch from Loren Moron. And another free kick. Now they do have options here. And Lo Celso, the man placing the ball. It's Mark Bartra, in fact, and also Guardado's there. Guardado seems to be the one who takes the responsibility for this kind of set piece, with Joaquin off the pitch.
Guardado with different options there. If we had been Bartra, it would have been just power. Guardado can do more with it.
3 men in the wall. Llorente, Varane and Fede Valverde. It's going to be Guardado, although Carvalho's got a decent right foot on him too. Flicked over to the far post. Firpo got his head to it ahead of Carvajal, but was unable to keep the ball down enough to threaten Keylor Navas.
Clever defending from Carvajal, who realized he'd missed his man, so tried to just make sure that that jump was in a comfortable jump from Junior, and that header went out wide.
Benzema receiving the ball coming from an offside position. Guardado leaves it for Bartra. There you can see, as that ball came through from Modric, Benzema offside. Vinicius. Caught from behind, quick to get up. Llorente. Varane. Carvajal. Llorente again. Now Marcelo. Modric leaves it. This one back by Valverde, wins a free kick too.
It's not easy what Betis is doing at the Santiago Bernabeu. You need a lot of personality to actually be wanting the ball, and Real Madrid haven't reacted well to not having enough of it.
Well, for once the Brazilian combination not quite coming off, it'll be a throw in. I mean, that's the point with this Betis, they certainly have character, no question.
Yeah, they play the same way home and away, and they seem to believe, all of them, in what is being proposed to them. That's in most cases why they've been signed for Betis. So it wouldn't make sense to just get rid of the manager from that point of view. It's just the fans don't like this style and don't like Quique that much, as terrible as it may sound.
How much damage did that defeat in the Cup do to them, do you think? Playing the final of the Benito Villamarín.
It was the losing the semi-finals of the Cup in the same week, losing the derby against Sevilla, and also getting knocked out by Rennes in the Europa League. Terrible week. And since then, I think they only managed to get a couple of 3 victories, I think. So it's been a bad end of the season.
Marcelo looking for Benzema, only finding Zufidal. Busy. Guardado finds Lo Celso, lovely ball to Francis. Francis took him a while to get the ball under control there, hits the Madrid area, forced back by Marcelo. Captain to Lo Celso. Bartra to Carvalho. Isamandi. Francis Guerrero taking on Vinicius, brings him down. A little bit the enthusiasm of youth there, I think, to try and stop Francis Guerrero. Also trying to make a statement. The ball put in quickly, collected by Keylor Navas. We're into the last 5 minutes of the first half. Quick free kick. No problems for Navas. He's looking very secure indeed, isn't he?
Yes, and what it could be his last game for Real Madrid. Zidane has been saying that out of the 2 goalkeepers he will decide on one and will tell who is the number 1, and that will be it. And we all suspect it's going to be Courtois, despite the fact that he's been a loyal servant for Zidane, Keylor Navas. But he won't. We will find plenty of clubs that want him. PSG is looking for a goalkeeper. Let's see what happens with De Gea, maybe in Manchester United, who of course had him wrapped up when the fax machine failed and De Gea could not move.
Llorente penalised for that challenge on Wilfried Kaptoum. I have to say, this season, where we've seen quite a bit of both keepers, Navas has looked the most on form, no question of that.
Yeah, that's very, very true. Don't blame always the goalkeepers for when they concede a goal, but it's true that Courtois is considered in every single game that he's played for Real Madrid. It's about 10 of them. So he's had injuries that have stopped him to feel confident. But yes, you're absolutely right. Keylor Navas has been the better goalkeeper.
Carvajal. There's one for Junior to chase. For Kaptoum to chase, I beg your pardon, it's cleared. Any which way by Navas. Now it's a chase for Brahim. Varane. Nacho. Benzema returning it to Marcelo. Llorente to Carvajal. Vinicius takes a tumble. The flag goes up for a kick to Real Madrid. And that's a little bit unnecessary. And across goes Indiana Mayenko to separate Vinicius Jr. and Zoufedal. I think he's just calming the youngster down a little bit. Zoufedal just niggling the Brazilian there. Unnecessarily, but just trying to put him off his stride.
You say unnecessarily, but if you know that he's got a short fuse, Vinicius, you try to wind him up a little bit. That is also football, I think.
Sure. Nacho to Marcelo. Nacho again. Junior Firpo anticipating, nodding the ball out of touch, throw into Real Madrid. Carvajal gets it back from Brahim Diaz. Llorente.
Modric is showing signs of frustration because when he finds himself with the space, he never gets the ball.
Well, good work there from Firpo and brilliant response from Carvajal.
No, and I was saying, the ball never gets there because the ball doesn't move with clarity and with enough pace around. So Modric has raised his arms earlier, just saying, I'm here for you.
Nacho. Fede Valverde. And here's Vinicius Jr. Countless step overs. Thought about the shot, I think. Modric. Vinicius again. So holding on to it with tenacity, but great defence in the end. And a chance now on the break for Betis. Loren Moron. Took his time in making the pass, but in the end nearly found Guardado. It's my Bartra who takes a tumble.
The centre-back was the most advanced player.
He's popped up a couple of times in attack. He won't have any time for any more in this half, though, as the half-time whistle goes. Blown by Indiana Mayenko. 45 minutes of La Liga Santander refereeing left for him. 0-0 the half-time score. whistles around the Bernabeu, and although it's goalless, Betis have looked the sharper of the two.
Are they enjoying themselves? They want the ball, they want to do things with it. When they don't have it, they're very well organised. He has been the better side in the first half. For Real Madrid, as we have been seeing for the last 2 months, 3 months, we're not sure where they're playing at. They've got quality, that may appear at some point. He hasn't in the first half. It is 0-0, but it's been a very entertaining 0-0.
Very entertaining indeed. More entertainment to come when we return to the Bernabeu just a minute or so before the restart.
Luôn có những khó khăn khốc liệt trong từng trận đấu, nhưng không gì có thể cản bước những nhà vô địch can đảm, quyết đoán và tỉnh táo, vượt qua mọi thử thách. Với Clement, mỗi khoảnh khắc nỗ lực hết mình đều là những khoảnh khắc vô địch. Đồng hành cùng những nhà vô địch Clement.
How was Spain?
They go crazy for football. And you know what? It's totally contagious. When you watch a match, you become one of them. Can't be football. That's got to be something else.
Welcome back to the Santiago Bernabeu. It's half-time in the final game of the 2018-19 season for Real Madrid and for Betis. No score at half-time. You can see the Betis players, Sydney, Jesse there, Joel warming up. Whether we'll see Jesse, for example, what kind of response will he get as he returns in front of his former fans? Who knows? Certainly Betis have been on top of things in the first half, dominating the possession. Both teams have had their chances. Karim Benzema perhaps with the best chance of the game, set up by a rather generous pass to him from the Betis right wing-back Francis Guerrero, perhaps taking Benzema by surprise. He managed to beat Pau Lopez only to hit the post. But I think in general terms, Guillaume Balaguer, Betis have just edged it in the first half.
Oh yeah, they should be happy. In fact, they if they continue playing like this, they could actually get the 3 points here, and if they do so, it'll be in the same season where I've beaten Barcelona at the Camp Nou and Real Madrid at the Santiago Bernabeu. Let's see if that happens, because that's the kind of response from the team to the doubts about the future of Quique Setién that could turn things for Quique Setién, in favor of Quique Setién, because today they're playing with an easiness, with a happiness. They've been offensive. They won the ball with a personality that is what Quique Setién wants of his side. Meanwhile, I think the way they're walking back to the pitch shows what Real Madrid are about at the moment. They just want to go home. They just want holidays. They just want the end of a season that has been very, very long from the moment they got knocked out from the Champions League.
It certainly has. This is the 11th game of Zinedine Zidane's second spell in charge at the club, and there's not too much joy there, is there, on the faces of the Madrid players?
They're facing a team that has created chances like Betis, that is making their life difficult because they move around. There's a lot of movement of the ball from Betis. They defend very organizedly, so to actually beat that, you also need to move a lot and work around a lot. But the cameras are pointing out at Keylor Navas because it could be the last 45 minutes of his career at Real Madrid after, what is it, 3 Champions Leagues, and certainly being better, much better than even people expected when he came from Levante. We thought that he was a good shot stopper, but he was that. He also created miracles sometimes and suited the style of Real Madrid. He was just, in a way, the perfect goalkeeper for Real Madrid, but there were so many doubts with him that Real Madrid didn't stop until they got another one that they think is better in Courtois.
As the Madrid players come out for the second half, we saw the other 7 filing into their spots in the dugouts. Courtois, Cruz, Bale, Lucas Asensio, Isco and Reguilón. Do you expect to see any of them in the second half, and if so, who?
We need to see Bale, don't we? We need to see Bale. I know that he wants to stay. Real Madrid will do everything in their power to actually get him out of the Santiago Bernabeu. But you're talking about somebody who's been 6 years at the club, who won 4 Champions League, 1 Cup, 1 Spanish Super Cup, 3 European Super Cups, 3 Club World Cups, 12 titles. And he's been out of the squad for the last 2 games. He's been on the bench for this one. Deserves a sending off. I'm not sure what the fans will do in this occasion, because they're not the typical fans. There is, I'm sure, a lot of visitors, and they will appreciate Gareth Bale. The regulars, not so much. There is a division on what he can do for the team, or has been doing for the team in recent times. He is as much to blame as Zidane. You haven't seen a lot of him because he hasn't been looked after. Because he hasn't been looked after, you haven't seen much good from him either.
There's a smile on his face just now, whether he thinks this is the end of an era or just the end of another season and he'll be back next time. who knows what's going on in the mind of the mercurial Welshman.
It is the end. Sorry, it's the end of an era anyway. Whatever happens with him, you know, you see new players coming in, new big players coming in, and it just feels that they do need the end of this era.
I remember comments we were all making at the beginning of the previous season that was, you've got an enormous world-class talent there. What you have to do is keep him fit, and that's one thing Real Madrid haven't been able to manage.
And keep him happy, make him play, give him the chance to get it wrong and keep going. And that's what Zidane has not done for 2 years.
The veteran referee Undiano Mayenko gets the second half underway. Betis all in green, attacking the goal to the right of your screen. No score as yet. Betis, the better of the two sides over the first half. Will that change as Carvajal picks out Modric? Modric inside to Brahim Diaz. Modric again. Carvajal finding Llorente. Nacho to Marcelo. Bit of a stretch there for Benzema. It goes through to Zufidal. Here's Carvalho. Junior Firpo. Bartra nudges it back to Pau Lopez. Vinicius goes into press. Mandy, who has time to pick out Captoum. Mandy striding forward. Captoum again. Llorente making an effort to get back and check him.
Oh.
Problems for Captoum. Whistle goes, Captoum goes down, and that doesn't look too promising.
But how easy it was to beat the pressure of Real Madrid. You normally, when a team pressures high, the way to get out of that pressure is through the wings, because that's where there is more space, so you organize yourself to do so. But he hasn't. There was no need for it. Just a couple of 1-2s, and that was it. 6 players were left behind, and Captoum kept running with the ball. Sadly for him, this could be the end of his game.
Looking like it, I have to say, as Christian Teo warms up for Betis. Certainly didn't look good. And Kike Setien looking on concerned as the medical staff rub at that knee. Help him to his feet. Seeing the replay, there's the moment. Immediate signal to the bench.
Not a clear, obvious, bad maneuver. The way he stepped on the floor was strong. Let's see if he comes back.
The Betis momentarily down to 10 men. That one hit straight by Isamandi at Vinicius, who's penalised for handball. Captoum trots back onto the pitch, seemingly no worse for wear. Loose one from Carvajal, it falls to Junior Firpo, however. And that's a firm challenge by Fede Valverde on Andres Guardado. A second yellow card as Fede Valverde joins Marcos Llorente. And for Betis, Captoum himself, the 3 players punished with the yellow card so far by Undiano Mayenko.
Fede Valverde is one of those players that Zidane has been impressed by and probably will keep him. Marcos Llorente is one that, despite his family connections to Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid, he may end up going to Atletico Madrid. It's wanted by him, especially if Rodri goes to Manchester City.
I'll tell you what, wouldn't be too bad a swap, really. I mean, obviously, as Varane heads that away, Rodri would be a huge miss for the Colchoneros, but I think Marcos Llorente has enjoyed an impressive season as Lo Celso.
Under Solari, he looked the part. Certainly he did, and he's got admirers at Atletico Madrid. At the moment, Real Madrid is saying no offer has been received, no contact at all, but it is a swap that I think even Marcos Llorente will appreciate.
Francis. Vidal to Bartra. Lo Celso under pressure from Modric, back to Carvalho. Lo Celso. Still Lo Celso. Carvajal back to Varane. Still Carvajal.
It's predictable, slow, there's not enough movement. This Real Madrid needs more than just changing faces. Needs to find a way of playing, needs to find the wish to play, needs to find the directness, the hunger. It's all hard. I know it's the last game of the season, and it has been a poor season, but
good ball from Brahim Benzema in the middle, waiting. It wasn't the greatest of first touches, and Francis helping out Issa Mandi there to get rid of the danger, only as far as Marcelo. However, still Marcelo. Now Vinicius Junior with the outside of the boot, puts the cross in. Not the most precise, and that languid first touch from William Carvalho once again, who wins a free kick.
He was lucky, should have released the ball much earlier.
Kesse amongst the three Betis players warming up. Mandy. Lo Celso to Guerrero, back to Carvalho. Now Captoon fully recovered, it seems. Wasn't the greatest ball though. Here's Llorente. Carvajal. Brahim Diaz. Nacho gets it back from Modric. There's a lack of zest, isn't there, in this second half performance?
All that I said in about 20 sentences, you said it in one. That's exactly what's happening with Real Madrid. And they're stopping Carvalho's on Modric. And when Modric is, the ball doesn't go through Modric, this is what happens to Real Madrid. It's just a little bit confusing.
Brahim Diaz, however, lovely ball in to Benzema. Vinicius to his right. Benzema thinks about a pass, finally makes it when it's too late, and Marc Bartra back to clear and put the ball out of touch. As twice, however, since the restart, that Madrid have been able to break through that first line of Betis pressure. Benzema once more. There's Modric. A chance for a shot escaped him. Lo Celso. Francis under pressure from Marcelo. Luka Modric. There's Nacho. Vinicius Junior losing out to Lo Celso. Still Lo Celso, to my mind the best player on the park so far. Vidal under pressure, and Brahim plays it back to Pau. Here's Mandy. Now Francis Guerrero. Marcelo. Dani Carvajal. Over the top, Brahim tries to control. Bartra hoiks it away. Loren nodding it down. And for once, Guardado unable to bring the ball under control. There's Nacho. Marcelo. Benzema. Junior Firpo. Guardado. Lovely turn. Firpo. He's got Loren Moron inside him. He can't make the pass pay, finding the heel of Rafa Varane, as always. superbly positioned. Here's Modric, now Marcelo. Marcelo to Vinicius. Vinicius Junior gets it onto the right foot and dispossessed by Samandi. The ball falling thanks to Fede Valverde to Brahim Diaz. He combines with Vinicius Junior. Brahim Diaz. Benzema. No way through the packed green lines.
The midfielders arrive late, the fullbacks arrive late. When Vinicius runs with the ball, he's on his own, nobody around the box. Benzema waiting for the pass and not running to space. It's just... that's it, it's just like that.
Marcelo back to Benzema. Luka Modric. Brahim Diaz. Chase for Carvajal, which he won't make.
And my question, and I've asked this to many coaches in the last 2 months, what happens when you've got a team like that, that is unbalanced, that can be improved in the market, but that emotionally seem drained? They seem lacking that hunger that we're talking about. What happens the following season? Do they just all of a sudden wake up after the holidays, or do you have to break this dynamism by just making a revolution? That, by the way, is not going to happen. There'll be changes, but it won't be a revolution. And nobody has got the perfect answer, of course, but it does feel like the team needs a shake-up much bigger than changing 2 or 3 players or bringing Eden Hazard.
Yeah, I can understand coaches not having an answer to that, because, I mean, not many coaches, to be honest, find themselves in charge of a squad that's had the success that this Real Madrid has. And what do you say to these players?
No,
is it a question of lack of hunger? Is it a question of lack of effort?
Well, when you're talking about success, obviously nobody can match the success of Real Madrid, but a team in the second B division, after getting the targets 2 or 3 years in a row, maybe going 1 or 2 divisions, that is also success. What do you do after that? And nobody has got the perfect answer. You sometimes have to keep and give an homage to those that did so well.
Lovely ball over the top for Vinicius Junior. Turns it onto the left foot, still Vinicius, and between Pau and the post, I think that one frustrating the young Brazilian once again. One of the few lively sparks in this Madrid performance. 2
touches too many right at the end. He was in front of the goalkeeper, he had the angle, go for it.
And Carvajal will be in trouble for that one. The card comes out, it's a yellow card, to the frustration of Junior Firpo and Quique Setien, who feel that was probably a question of Firpo through on goal. Carvajal quite clearly taking the decision to take one for the team. I don't think you can call it an absolutely clear goal opportunity, even though it's true that had Firpo got away from Carvajal, Madrid were in trouble.
You don't see it in this angle, of course it's a yellow, but I think Varane was on line more or less with Carvajal, and the referee cannot give that as a clear chance. It's not a red, it's a yellow, but it's the 3rd defensive player of Real Madrid with a yellow, because Betis are putting lots of doubts into the minds. They creating chances, they attacking, they want to win this game, and sometimes the only way to stop it, because nobody's stopping them before, is to actually commit a foul that is a yellow.
Well, the last time Laura Netame was visiting us, Guillem, he explained that despite all of the possession play of Betis, they're actually at the most lethal on the counter. And we've seen that on a couple of occasions as Madrid take the game a little bit more aggressively, if you like. They're looking vulnerable to the break. It's a question of Betis trying to take advantage as Guardado swings it in, headed away by Nacho. Ball falls to Vinicius Junior. Problems for Fedal, who manages to keep the ball in play. Appeals from the fans and Vinicius for a handball. This is Lo Celso as Zinedine Zidane prepares his first change of the game. Firpo chasing, can't keep it in play.
Yeah, but it was 2 players running into space. The ball was going to always be delivered there. And that's a chance from Vinicius. Okay, 1v1, this is it, this is what you can do. Boom, left behind, shoot. But no, still wanted another extra touch. by then the angle was gone.
Asensio coming on and replacing Brahim Diaz. Marks out of 10 for Brahim today, Guillaume.
Brahim was a 5-6. He had a good, decent first 20-25 minutes, tried things, and then he kind of disappeared. He's the kind of player that needs to have the ball, but again, needs the conditions to be created so you can see the best out of him. And the best out of him is in 1v1s. You know, getting the full back, getting the centre back, and running at them. But because Real Madrid didn't deliver the ball that much, his adventures were always surrounded with defenders. So not his fault, but he didn't shine today.
We saw him take his place in the dugout next to Gareth Bale, who seemed to be chatting to him in English, I suppose.
Yeah, so it's not just Marcelo who talks to him, it's Brahim who talks to him as well. He's a good friend of Modric at Cross, personally as well. They meet for dinners, but not that often. It's true that he doesn't socialize that much with Real Madrid, and it's true that more than ever he feels isolated from the team, and it's logical because the manager doesn't even speak to him.
Carvalho back to Fidal. Captain to Carvalho, gets the ball back, neat combination. Typical Betis fashion, it's nice to look at. It's not really going anywhere though. Guardado to Lo Celso. That's a superb return ball to the Mexican, who gets the cross in! Loren Moron into the roof of the net, and Betis break the deadlock. Absolutely exquisite combination between Guardado and Lo Celso. The vision of the Argentine once again splitting that Madrid defence. Guardado's cross perfectly timed, and Loren Moron in the right place at the right time. 1-0 to Betis.
The football of Betis is so deceiving. You and me were thinking, come on, just move the ball forward. Come on, or somebody make a run. It's deceiving. It kind of makes you fall asleep. But then there is a point where somebody makes the run, and he has to be found. That was Guardado in this case. And once he saw the run of Loren, he just needed to put it in the right place for Loren to finish. Not easy. There was still enough angle there. He's the forward. He's the centre forward. He will have spent 71 minutes waiting for a ball like this. Got it, delivered it in the right place for Navas not to reach.
All credit to Guardado for the cross, also to Lo Celso for the delightful ball over the top that set him through. It's interesting to see Marcelo, when the ball comes in, is the Madrid defender nearest Keylor Navas, and as Nacho chases to get to the far post to try and prevent Loren from getting an easy shot off, he looks over his shoulder and sees Marcelo standing there.
Yes, well, that's the Marcelo that Zidane wants to recover. That's the defender that apparently is going to be the fullback of Real Madrid next season, and that's somebody that was not playing that much under Solari for a reason. So that's what we've been saying. Zidane, what do you want to do? Do you really want to change the side? Do you want to get rid of the players that perhaps have given everything for Real Madrid? Well, Marcelo is one of those that you need to get rid of.
Well, strapping on the left thigh there of Brahim Diaz.
It's half an hour, you know, to go, more or less, and Zidane hasn't asked Gareth Bale to warm up. I find the whole thing very strange.
Having left him out of the last two matchday squads, why include him if you're not thinking of giving him a little homage, even if it's 10 minutes at the end?
And he can do something for the side. He can.
Sure.
You take him one of the guys that gives you penetration, just put somebody like that.
Marcelo. Valverde to Vinicius Junior, taking on Francis, getting onto the right foot, and that's a Vinicius Junior speciality. We've seen that so many times, haven't we?
Yes, you still got to defend him, so you know that this could happen, and of course they doubling up on him, and the Lo Celso has been covering when it's necessary, so Vinicius hasn't found it easy, so that's why he's coming inside, but he does come inside most of the time, so they now know what he does, and when he's got the chance he shoots, and he's not that effective when he shoots.
Llorente to Marcelo, and that'll be a yellow card for Giovanni Lo Celso. No, it won't, just a free kick.
Could have been easily given it though.
So, seemed like a professional foul to me. Here's Carvajal. Modric. Twisting and turning. Not going to need too much support here. Asensio finally made a run. Modric forced back.
If Real Madrid finishes like this, say Barcelona beat Eibar, it could be the biggest point difference with a leader that Real Madrid have had this century almost. So, or since 2001, it is so poor. And last season, what was it? 17 points separated.
17 last season. Yeah.
Barcelona and Real Madrid. So how can you overcome that? It's not just about players. It's about a culture of the team, making it winners again.
Good work there from Fede Valverde. Vinicius Junior gets into the area. Still Vinicius once again running out of space at the last. It'll be a goal kick. I mean, it's a good question, Guillem, and I guess the short answer is, if you're winning the Champions League every season, people tend to put to one side that huge point difference in the domestic competition and maybe not give it the importance that we know it has. But when you fall in the cup competitions, you're left kind of standing naked in front of the crowd.
The least perhaps valued, but for me the most important characteristic in football is to be brave. You have to actually take decisions when you are at the top. If you smell, and you are at the club, you must know that things are not right. You know, everybody knows. Every coach that has arrived to Real Madrid in the last 5 years, they know what's right and what's wrong with the side. That means taking decisions that can be maybe not very popular and getting rid of players that people like and for reasons that are not obvious. That's the bravery that Real Madrid has lacked in the last 2 years. Meanwhile, of course, people would say, yeah, four Champions League in the last 5 years. Absolutely. But that came on the back of some strong decisions being made 6-7 years ago. Those decisions have been needed now.
Llorente goes down, and Undiano quick to blow the whistle. He stayed on his feet long enough to make the pass, but clearly struggling there. Undiano was right next to him. Just caught by Guardado there, perhaps, and then Malpatra, and you can see the response of Llorente, and that's bravery. You're talking about bravery, staying on his feet despite the pain being red on his face until he made the pass. There's Asensio. Cross comes in, flicked on by Carvajal, headed away. Lo Celso, Carvalho gets away from Asensio. Carvalho, I was going to say sprinting forward, trotting forward. Junior to Lo Celso! Keylor Navas with the second world-class save in the afternoon.
I think the fans are clapping Navas, but are clapping Betis as well. They're making it an entertaining game. Means nothing for, certainly for Real Madrid. A victory here could move Betis 1 or 2 places, will equal with 50 points, the 9th in the division. Would be a decent ending, but it will mean a lot, I think, for Quique Setién. His team is really giving a good performance today, and that could have been the second goal.
Well, Kaptoum is going to leave the playing surface. First substitution made by Quique Setién, and it's a return to the Santiago Bernabeu of José Rodríguez, warmly applauded by his former fans. Carvalho. Oh, lovely ball. And Lo Celso will regret that one. He had time to pick his spot.
What a chance. Carvalho did mean to put the ball through, absolutely, and he did it with the right timing and weight of the ball. Lo Celso had the time to get closer to the box if he wanted to, but delivered it early and he went wide.
Mandi lurking at the far post as Isco comes on to replace Fede Valverde. Not his most spectacular performance in the Madrid shirt from Valverde.
No, he's not helped by the team, of course. So the guys that play in the middle are exposed if the guys in front of them don't work hard enough. And you need to have movement also when you pass the ball. So bad performance from the team that affected Fede Valverde, that I think he's got the quality to be a Real Madrid player. Perhaps not in the Casemiro role, but yes in the Kroos and Modric role if he gets given enough minutes.
Carvalho. Oh, he's dispossessed by Isco with his first intervention, and Isco running down a blind alley. Problems for Undiano Mayenko there. The fans, I think, responding to that. Everybody loves to see a referee in trouble. Undiano doing well, back on his feet. Marcelo. Asensio struck it firmly, struck it wide. Well, Isco appeared to have created an opportunity there out of nothing. There's the end of the move.
It's dangerous times for Madrid, because now you've got 4 or 5 players that are only thinking of scoring. They're only thinking of shooting, of creating chances. If Betis plays this well, this could be playing in their hands.
Pau Lopez waiting for Asensio or Isco to get a bit closer. It's nodded on by Loren Moron. That's a good steal from Modric. Betis clearly with the 2 up front now. Jesse joining Loren Moron. Modric to Isco. Modric again. Benzema. Guardado to Loren Moron. Carvalho is Lo Celso. Jesse Junior. Celso Junior. In the end, it's given away, although Junior strikes back and gives away a free kick for that challenge on Isco. Marcelo. Vinicius Junior. Modric. Very deep indeed. Here's Varane. Carvajal. Llorente trying to get away from Marc Bartra.
As we've been saying, sorry, all along Betis have been defended very, very well, very focused. Only one mistake from Francis, who's a controversial figure anyway, local guy who's come through the ranks, but was proud to those mistakes, and Quique Setién really likes him. But they've been very, very focused. They're keeping the lines together, as you can see, when somebody has got the ball, somebody's close to him, and when it doesn't happen, it's danger for Betis. It hasn't happened very often.
There's a rather wild cross there by Asensio, and now on the break Guardado has got Jesse with him to the left. Guardado, Modric sticking to him. Credit to Modric. Guardado running out of space. Fidel to Carvalho. He in turn finds Lo Celso. Lo Celso laying it off to Junior. It's a good cross in, dealt with by Varane. Lo Celso protecting it. Throw into Betis.
It's 1-0 at the Santiago Bernabeu, and what does Quique Setién do? Just brings another forward.
Teo to replace Loren Moron, the scorer of the only goal so far. It's a lovely finish. His 6th goal of the season, one less than last season.
It's very difficult to be a centre forward at Betis, because he doesn't have many opportunities to touch the ball, never mind to finish a move. There wasn't much that arrived to his end, but in this occasion he only had to put it in. The ball came in front of him. He didn't have to move his body, and he finished it with venom. It's the goal that leaves Betis with the possibilities of winning both at the Camp Nou and the Santiago Bernabeu on the same season.
Rather timid cheers for Christian Teo, as a former Barcelona player trots onto the pitch. Carvalho. Jesse. Well, his intention was to link with Junior Firpo. Didn't come off for him. It's given away by Carvajal to Carvalho. Now Guardado. Mandy.
They're toying with Real Madrid, this Betis.
Lo Celso, Firpo on the overlap. Oh, what a goal! Junior Firpo with the burst into the box. Toying with them is your expression, Guillem. And I'll give you full credit for that. That's exactly what they're doing. Jesse scores against his former club. 15 minutes to go of the season. And it's Real Madrid 0, Betis 2. Jesse with the goal, Junior Firpo with the assist. He apologises to the Bernabeu. They might well be thinking about bringing him back after that.
Well, not sure about that, but in any case, it's a goal that he will appreciate. It was a team effort. Betis had decided, let's keep the ball, let's play it around the box. Actually, let's get it closer to the edge of the box because nobody's coming to us. So it's 1-2 passing. Let's see if somebody makes a run. Would anybody follow him? Well, Junior makes the run. Nobody follows him, and that ball gets put to Jesse, who, by the way, was unmarked inside the box. The whole thing a disaster defensively, but a very good understanding from Betis and the Betis players of what's been going on in the game and what they can do with it. They've got quality, we know that, and they put it in practice, both in terms they defended, we said it earlier, but how they attacked as well. They deserve this 2-0.
It's been a very, very competent performance by Betis, and you can't say the same for their hosts today. This man Carvalho just looking like he's got, as he always does, all the time in the world. Doesn't often enjoy quite as much time as he's enjoying today in the Bernabeu. Now, if you're Gareth Bale on the bench, and there he is, funnily enough.
And he won't come on. Whether
you know this is your last time in a Madrid shirt or not, are you kind of hoping Zinedine Zidane doesn't bring you on?
If you're a professional, football professional, you should be wanting always to play. But I understand what you're saying. He hasn't been given the chance to play regularly. He's been out of the squad. And by the way, Lucas Vázquez comes in.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken,
Yes,
is the third change of Real Madrid, which means that Gareth Bale will not be able to say goodbye, which is the announcement that the media are saying, leaked by the club, I'm pretty sure. He doesn't want to go, so I'm not sure how you get rid of him, but we'll see on that. In any case, for the last game of the season at the Santiago Bernabeu, this, shall I say, legend of Real Madrid, who's won 4 Champions League, 12 titles with the club, who scored in 3 finals, is not going to be given the chance, if he leaves, of saying goodbye today.
Well, maybe that's because Zinedine Zidane knows he won't be saying goodbye, and he wants to save him the awkward situation of playing in the rather toxic atmosphere, which all of a sudden can be felt in and around the Bernabeu.
Let me put you another proposition. There is 15 minutes to go. You play him and he scores 1 or 2 goals, and you give him the chance to say this is a guy that can be sold for a lot of money.
Well, clattering there, Isco into Pau Lopez. That'll be a free kick in favour of the referee. We didn't actually see the substitution yet, but I believe it's Benzema who's
Benzema's come off, yeah.
Lucas. Benzema, as we've said, one of the few players to come out of this season with much credit.
Yes, he's done what he's supposed to do, though. He hasn't done beyond that. He hasn't scored 40 goals. He scored 20 goals that makes him, yes, a good striker for Real Madrid. The problem with Benzema is that his style affects the team. What kind of striker you bring to be next to him? If you get Eden Hazard, you want to have to play him in a different role that he plays now, not on the left. Maybe leave Vinicius there. You've got Benzema in the middle. But Pau seems a little bit in pain and perhaps even affected by the sun. It's a hot day.
I think winded there, because it seemed to me that Isco, the contact Isco made with him is with his chest.
Ah, yes.
Seems to be struggling for breath a little bit, in which case he should be okay to recover. It doesn't look like it's a problem with the head. I don't think there was any contact.
Let me just say, though, we've just seen pictures of Kroos and Gareth Bale laughing. I know how the Spanish media works. It will be pointed out that Real Madrid are losing 2-0. You're supposed to have a different face. You're supposed not to enjoy the fact that you're not coming on. You're supposed to actually be in rebellion to this situation, like all these fans that are going home. Rebel against it, be annoyed. And by the way, that's how some of coaches like Santi Solari got the best out of Bale, by just getting me annoyed, leaving him on the bench, bringing him for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I do believe that Gareth Bale has said that to Solari as well. I was annoyed, that's why I play like that. All right, we'll keep you always annoyed.
He was annoyed in last season's Champions League
Absolutely.
final. Look what he did when he came off the bench.
Good point. So, okay, if that's the way to do it, you may not like it, but that's the way we're going to get the best out of you. It's just that Zidane has given up on him. So what we were seeing is a player smiling, yes, because probably feels nobody cares enough about him at the moment.
Well, I mean, there have been several stories reported this season about Bale's attitude, leaving the stadium, once substituted early. Got off the bus, didn't he, after the defeat at Vallecas, to disappear back to Britain for a couple of days break.
All that is true.
Those things are true, but they don't help. And I think other players could probably have got away with them. And I'm sure players do this on a fairly regular basis, especially foreign players who are looking.
Simon, it paints a picture.
But
it paints a picture.
Of course it does.
That fits an agenda.
But what paints the picture is the fact that it's reported. What I'm saying is not everybody gets those stories reported.
Absolutely, absolutely. Only the guys that have to leave.
Sure.
Yeah, it's that classic at Real Madrid. If you know, remember the stories about Ozil before he left?
Yeah.
The stories about Kedira before he left?
Yeah, players who could do no wrong when they were seen in a favourable light.
Absolutely. It is a strange decision by Zidane not to try to recover one of the most talented players you've got in the squad. And okay, personally, it didn't work for them for a long while. But you're still the manager. You still got to get something out of it.
That's a good ball. Latching onto it. Oh, the cross comes in. Jesse was lurking. Well collected though by Keylor Navas. And right now, Real Madrid looking like a broken item.
Betis, on the other hand, Quique Setién can say in the report at the end of the season, there's not that much wrong with us. We at some point probably would say didn't have enough depth in the squad, didn't have enough different type of players. We keep talking about strikers, yes, that's important, but there was times where the midfield didn't seem strong enough, and the full-backs as well, especially Francis, for instance. So 2-3 touches, that's all the team needs, and look how well they play.
Oh, that's a lovely ball. Kesse latching onto it. Rafa Varane sticking to him, making a firm challenge, and a clean challenge according to Diana Mayenko. Now Luka Modric.
Look how many players in front of the ball. I know it's 2-0, I know it's minute 82, but when Isco had the ball in his own half, there were only 2 players in front of him.
Lucas to Isco. Big change of direction. Picks out Marcelo. Over the top to Asensio, who overhits the pass back, and listen to the response of the Santiago Bernabeu. It's a little bit unfair. I mean, Marco Asensio isn't responsible for the poor performance today, but...
No, but it's not fully unfair, because we were talking, and that's the idea, sold by the club, that Bale, Marco Asensio and Benzema were going to replace the goals of Cristiano Ronaldo. Bale has done his bit until he wasn't allowed to do any more, and I'm sure he could have done better in the times that he was on the pitch. Benzema did, but where has Marco Asensio been this season?
Vinicius Junior. Back to Marcelo. And cheers for that misplaced pass as well. The clock running down on Real Madrid's season, disappointing both at home and abroad. Firpo to Mandy. Now Carvalho playing with supreme confidence right now. Betis as well, they might. A little bit awkward from Zufadal. He plays it back to a now fully recovered Pau Lopez. Bartra, Lopez. Isamandi. Chelsea's enjoying himself. Guardado. Francis Guerrero back to the Mexican. Oof. And that's a yellow card for Isco.
Yeah.
And that's a nasty challenge with 5 minutes to go of the season. And that's frustration, isn't it?
It is frustration. It is frustration for somebody as well that has not shown to be the kind of player that Real Madrid needs. There was a time where he was challenged to actually show that if he didn't like his situation, because he was left on the bench a lot, what can you do to get better? And instead of trying to challenge that situation, rebel against it, he just let himself go.
Yep.
In training, off the pitch, and when he came on the pitch as well, just seemed like he just basically didn't care. So Isco is another one that you have to give 0 marks out of 10 for this season.
Emerson preparing to be brought on by Kike Setien. Carvalho. Francis back to Mendy. Lo Celso. It's looking so easy now, isn't it, for Betis? Here's Jesse. Lo Celso. Lead ball. Junior Firpo. Teo straight at Marcelo, chests it down to Asensio. No support, only Vinicius there. And Betis win it straight back again. Carvalho nonchalance itself.
You think of the absentees of Real Madrid, Casemiro, Vallejo, Ceballos, Mariano, Odriozola, not players that you expect to make the team better straight away, just squad players, apart from Ramos. Ramos has been missing in the last, what is it, a month and a half almost, because of injury. He's disappeared from all this. You'd say if he was here, there would be shouts, there would be, you know, he's a leader, no doubt about that. But he's gone, and there's nobody else taking that role. So not only the team needs better players, they need leaders, and you don't create leaders. They just have that nature in them, and nobody in that squad seems to fill a role that Ramos tends to have.
Emerson being brought on, I think it was the number 2 of Francis Guerrero that we saw there. Although things may well change. William Carvalho clearly suffering.
Yeah, he was with his hands on his knees earlier, so I think they're trying to see if he's physically well. If he is, he will stay on. If he isn't, he will be the one to be replaced. He is asking to be replaced.
A reprieve then for Francis, who controls that one nicely and wins a throw in. 2 minutes left for this Real Madrid side, and it's going to be Sydney to come on for the final minutes.
Yeah, but he's not ready, he's not prepared, so Betis has to play on.
Marcelo, Varane, Llorente, now Carvajal. Well, even more empty seats now as Modric tries to dredge something up, and Vinicius told to get up. Teo. Firpo. Christian Teo just about keeping the ball in play. There's Lo Celso. Carvalho might not be feeling at his fittest, but no pressure put on him whatsoever. Francis back to Isamandi. Flicked over the top, and that will go into the domain of Keylor Navas. Applause for Navas. Not much cause for applause, really, of any other aspect of today's performance by Madrid. Francis gets away from Nacho, gets the cross in. Varane as calm and collected as ever, finding Marcelo. 3 minutes added. Sydney preparing to come on to replace Carvalho, and 3 minutes more of almost a slow dripping water torture for the Real Madrid players. Asensio's attempt jeered by the fans.
We are talking about a disastrous season. We're talking about the end of an era. This is the Real Madrid, the winning Real Madrid of many years, started in 2013-14, winning the Champions League final against Atletico Madrid. It finishes today. We won't see some of the players that were important for that season, for those seasons and the seasons after, and something new is going to have to start.
Well, it's been a fine season for Carvalho. They say from less to more in the Spanish, and I think that's the way his season's gone. Sydney, the veteran Brazilian centre-half, comes on for the final couple of minutes. Fidal back to the keeper. Pau sends it long to Guardado. Let's give Madrid their due. They've got the possession back to more or less even Stevens, but it doesn't feel like that, does it?
No, they held it in their own half and without really intention to, or wanting to damage, but not knowing how to. So the possession of Betis today has been superb, because they deceive you to think that they not wanting to attack until somebody makes the run, as we saw in the second goal, and they've also used it, as they're using it now, conservatively to defend. So great performance from Betis today.
We're into the final minutes of the season in the Santiago Bernabeu. Francis Guerrero on the ball, and Marcelo, as if wanting to send a message, in with a firm challenge there.
Francis being the weakest link in this team. Not only he made a mistake that Benzema could have scored when it was still 0-0, but just generally he hasn't felt comfortable in his position.
And it's been another five-star performance from Giovanni Lo Celso today.
Yes, Carvalho, you pointed it out earlier, was superb. The centre-backs didn't make any mistake, but Lo Celso does the most difficult things, to find the gaps, to find the pass, to find the moment to do it as well, and he just feels certainly belongs to Betis. He's the best player of Betis, perhaps even more.
Well, there's the final whistle. Gareth Bale reluctantly leaving the dugout, still not having taken that tracksuit off. Is it the last time we'll see him playing for Real Madrid? We'll find out over the coming months. Guillem.
That's Marcos Alvarez, who was at Spurs with a different era for Gareth Bale. And yes, it's the end of something, but actually, don't you have to just clap to the fans? Don't you have to walk around the pitch and say goodbye, have a good summer? Doesn't everybody do it? Gareth should have done it. See, the Real Madrid players are there as well. I know that he's upset. I know that he's annoying, but he is a Real Madrid player and he should offer that to the fans, I think.
Well, Guillem Balaguer, it's been a pleasure. The final score here in the Bernabeu, the final game in charge of a LaLiga match for that man, Mr. Undiano Mayenko. He didn't have too many problems today. Zinedine Zidane is going to have a long, hot Spanish summer to try and sort things out, and sort out they need to be done. Final score, Real Madrid 0, Betis 2. Well, the sound to be heard in the Bernabeu, cheers instead of applause. Not perhaps the way Keylor Navas would have liked to be saying his farewells, but his farewells he is going to say. What a brilliant servant to the club he's been. Not at fault for either of the goals today, but he will be remembered as the goalkeeper who was very instrumental in those 4 Champions League wins in 5 seasons. But every indication is that this will be his last performance in the Real Madrid colours. Mayenko, I'm not sure if that's a tear being wiped away. I think it is, you know. It's been a typical Undiano Mayenko performance officiating today. Nothing strident about it, no controversy. Well placed to make the calls. Getting the yellow cards out when required. And for Real Madrid, all over, bar the shouting. It's another disappointment. Their first home defeat under Zinedine Zidane in his second spell. Now 11 games in charge, 5 wins, 2 draws, 4 defeats. Let's speak to Marcelo. It's a tough way to end a season that's been very long and very hard for you. Yeah, but it's our fault. We started badly and we finished badly. We didn't want the season to be like this at any stage. We want to be in finals and disputing titles. It's been a tough season, one of the hardest. On a personal level, we've tried to do everything we could to get this project going, to play, to win, to please the fans, and unhappily that hasn't been possible. But we've been here, we've shown, but today, next season begins. We have to look at what we failed this season, which, like you say, has been very, very long and very, very tough, and we can't repeat the same errors next season when everything will be different. A very passionate man. How do you feel when you hear jeers here in the Bernabeu? Well, look, when you win it's much easier, but when you lose you have to look for something. I think the cheers is a way to motivate us, because we're clearly not doing things right. If every time they jeer me I had to give up, I wouldn't be the player I am. So I see the jeers and the whistles and the boos as motivation to improve. Haven't been able to do it, but we have to know the way to reinvert the situation. We want to stop the jeers and make them applaud us. How do you change that, Marcelo? You have to do a reset. Do you think Madrid can hit that level again that we've seen over the last few seasons? Madrid's never gone away. I think we're always there. We're always fighting for every title. Like I've said, of the 7 years, we've won just about everything. This is one season. Obviously, we always have to be fighting for everything. But one bad season isn't going to change the greatness of Real Madrid. Next season, we're thinking about it already, and we're going to be working so it improves on what we've done this season. The last question, Keylor Navas is on his way. It's a day of farewells. Is this Madrid squad going to change a lot? Well, we experience the disappointment of a season in which we haven't won anything. The players come and go. Some of them have made history here and are still doing so. They've been here a long time. But today, I haven't seen today as a farewell to the season, yes. Farewell to a very tough season, as we've said, but the players are here. And as the president said the other day, if you've got a contract, well, then you probably stay here. The words of Marcelo, the captain of Real Madrid. And we're going to speak to Jose. Congratulations for the win and for the goal. Well, thank you. I'm pleased with the win and the goal. After the last few games, it was good to finish positively. I think we deserve to finish with the win and come here to such a tough ground as Madrid and beat them. It's a good way to finish the season. This season you've won in the Bernabeu and the Camp Nou. Well, yep, that's true. Winning in really difficult grounds against tough rivals. But at the end of the day, La Liga is a very long competition and we weren't quite consistent enough to finish higher up the table. But I think all the players and the technical staff want to improve. You're not too far away from Europe. Espanyol have got in not so long ago. You were tied with them. How do you feel seeing those results? Well, at the end of the day, they're details. It's all about details. The team who manages to get into the Champions League or the Europa League, they need consistency, they need more points, they need to play well, and maybe we've just let too many points slip away through our fingers, really. But that's football. Football's about winning, and to get into European competition you need to win. 2-0, you've won, you didn't want to celebrate your goal, but you were pleased, obviously. But then you apologised to the fans and scored against them today. That's life and that's football, and things change. Scoring here, that was my home for more than 10 years. I'm really grateful to everything Madrid gave to me and helped me with. But I'm also grateful to Betis because I feel like a footballer again. Madrid have had such a tough season. How do you feel about that? Well, I know they've had a tough time. When you're knocked out of the Champions League, these are players who are used to playing with a lot of motivation, playing the top quality games, but that's football. You have to compete until the end. They've had a bad time, but they have to keep going. And all of the players come on as my former teammates, I just wish them well. The words of Jose Rodriguez, the scorer of Betis' second goal. We've spoken as well to Marcelo, the captain of Real Madrid today, who was very critical of himself and his teammates' performance. And I think he got it absolutely right, because on the day, Betis clearly the superior team. This magnificently worked goal, Lo Celso finding Guardado. Guardado's cross to Loren Moron, who finished it off. The second goal would be added later by former Real Madrid man Jose. Betis enjoying plenty of other chances too. The departing Keylor Navas forced to make several world-class saves to limit Madrid's final defeat to just the 2 goals. Here is the second goal, the assist from Junior Firpo, the finish from Jose Rodriguez. It's the finish also of Real Madrid's season, the final score in the final game in the Santiago Bernabeu. Real Madrid 0, Betis 2.
How was Spain? They go crazy for football. And you know what? It's totally contagious. When you watch a match, you become one of them. Can't be football. That's got to be something else.